Okay, today's lesson is simple interest graphs. So we've done the simple interest with using formulas and all that in previous lesson. So today we're just going to look at the graphs. So mainly we're just going to reading of the graph, but this is not easy thing to do. You have to be very careful about how to read graph. Okay, so linear function I equals PRN. So what does that linear function really means? It's just straight line. Okay. And with the graphing, you need to know your dependent variable and independent variable. So I, the interest, is a dependent variable, which means Y. Remember, Y is the dependent on the X values. So therefore, independent variable is the X. Now in here, X is the N and Y is the I. Okay, so when we're looking at the graph here, so Y is the I, money, and X is the N, sometimes years, for example, or months. Okay, let's have a look at the example 6. Rachel invests $20,000 in an account that earned 6% per annum simple interest. Part A, construct a graph that shows the simple interest, I, earned in dollars for n years, for values of n from 0 to 8. Here is Rachel summarizing all that information, like useful information we have. So we got P as a $20,000. R, the rate is 6%, which is 0.06. N is the years, 0 to 8. We do need it for finding a formula equation, but we're going to use the graph most of the times. We need to learn to read the graph. Okay, there are a few things you need to think about when you're constructing a graph, especially for the linear graph, okay, linear function graph. So there are 3 steps you need to think about. First is you need to know your formula. That formula will give us the values, which we will be representing in a table of values. Now, table of values are points, isn't it? Coordinates. So that means we can plot the points on a graph. From the question, we had 20,000 as our P, and then 0.06 as our R, and the numbers is 0 to 8. So let's find the equation. So I equals PRN. Okay, and P is 20,000, and then R is 0.06. N we don't know because it's got 0 to 8. That's okay. You don't have to have everything. So we are putting all that in. I equals P is 20,000 times R is 0.06 times N. Now, as you can see, why we didn't have N, because it's I equals something N. Okay, so obviously you need to have a 2 unknown to get the equation. So if you do 20,000 times 0.06, you will get 1200 and N. So this is my equation for my linear function, the straight line. Now I need to structure table of values. This gives us the points. I'm not going to do 0 to 8 as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm just going to pick few, 0 and 2 and 8. So if I put 0, so my formula here, so when n is 0, what will happen to my I? So I'm going to go I equals 1200 times 0. Well, it's 0. So that's a 0 here. That's not a problem. And then if I had n equals 2, I will have I equals 1200 times 2, which is double of 1200, 2400. Okay, so I'm going to write 2400, so 2400. when n equals 8, my I is 1200 times 8. That would be 9600. So 9600. Okay, so the point I might have to use is a 0 and 0, 2 and 2400, and 8 and 9600. So I'm going to plot these 3 points on the graph. So let's plot these points. 0, 0. So it's going to be here. Okay. And 2 and 2400. 2 here. 2400. Okay. So roughly it's just below half mark between 2000 and 3000. Roughly here. That's my second one. And 8 and 9600. Bit more than half mark. Roughly here. Okay. So I've got this, say A, B, C, point A, B, C. So I've got A, B, C here. And all you have to do now, use your ruler, join them. So if I do that, you'll get something like this. Okay. All right, let's have a look. Part B. What does the gradient of this graph represent? Okay, when we're talking about gradient here, it's the 1200, isn't it? Because it's y equals mx. Okay, so that m is the gradient. So the gradient 1200 represents the simple interest earned per year. Okay, because that is year. Okay, so whatever the n, it all tells you it's going times by 1200. So that just means represents the simple interest earned per year. Okay, part C. Use the graph to estimate. Now it says estimate. It makes sense because you can't really have accuracy here because it's a bit hard to read it off from graph. So first thing first, before we tackle the question, I want you to think about this. What does that mean by reading a graph? Okay, you can't really physically read a graph like a book, but what it means is you really need to understand its scales. There's 2 scales, one for a x-axis, one for a y-axis. And here, my x is the n, my y is the capital I. So when I look at the x-axis, there's a 5 little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little scales happening. So it's 5 spaces and it has to be altogether 1. So each space has to be 0.2. Okay, so it's almost like saying $1 is sharing with 5 people and each person will get 20 cents each. So here for x-axis, we will go, if you really want to know how to do it, 1 divided by 5. So that's the scale for x. Now y, which is the money, the interest, and there's a 5 and there's going up to 1,000. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that means it's going up by 200. Of course, you need to use a ruler for accuracy when you sketch it, or when you want to find a certain number, move to the right or left and hit the line and go down or up. That's when you have to use a ruler. And make sure you be very careful with the units. So the x-axis, the n, is in years. Okay, so when you read the question carefully, check that, okay, we're talking about years, so I need to look at my x-axis. And the y is the money. So when you talk about money, you need to think about, okay, that's my y-axis. Okay, so be careful with that. All right, so let's have a look at the question. The simple interest earned after 4.5 years. So simple interest is the I, the money, isn't it? Okay, when n is 4.5. Okay, so you would like to use a formula to do this, but it's okay. In the exam, you could use the formula, and then check on the graph to make sure it matches up. Okay, so I'm looking at 4.5 here. I already put the 4.5 here, the yellow highlights here, and then it goes up until it hits the straight line, and then I'm going to my left to see how much interest I'm getting. Okay, so when you do that, you will get 5,400. Okay, so second part is when 8,000, so we're looking at interest right now here. That is, interest is 8,000. So it's y-axis. And when will be earned. So we're looking for n when I is 8,000. So we're looking at the 8,000 here, and go to my right and hit the line, and going down, that's my where it is, up by 0.2, wasn't it, on the axis? So 3 is 0.6. So altogether, the n is 6.6 years. It's a bonus question here. Now, use the graph on the right to estimate. Okay, so when you use the graph, you do need to estimate. Okay, so you can't really have exact, accurate answer for this. First thing first, we need to think about scale. Okay, what are the scales here? I'm looking at x-axis. Now, from here to here, there's a 10 little spaces there. Okay, so therefore, it's each little space is 0.1. Y-axis, and there are 10 spaces going up by 1,000. So 1,000 divided by 10, it's 100. So each little space is $100. Let's have a look at the question. My x-axis is in years, and my y-axis money, interest, same as before. Let's estimate the interest earned. So that's I, the money, we don't know, at 6%. Okay, so that's interesting. So R is 6%, which are all these numbers, the lines, and 3.5. Okay, so we have 3 options, 3 lines here, not like the others. There's a 1 straight line, but this got 3. Each one of them represents interest rates. The blue one is 8%. The purple one is 6%. Orange one is 4%. So here it says 6%. So we have to look at the purple one. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I want to know how much interest we earned with 6% and 3.5 years. So I've already got 3.5 all the way, and I'm going to hit right there, and I'm going to go straight into my left. I think it's under 2 here, or 1. So I'm going to take a while, but I'm going to say 4,200, because roughly I think it was 2, because it's going up by 100, so it's 4,200. Next one, the interest rate. So we need to know the interest rates are when 3,000, I is 3,000, is earned after 2.5 years. So 2.5 years, already put that in there. And we're looking at, we don't know what percentage we're looking at. So I'm just going right up to 3,000 here. So we're going to have to meet somewhere. Aha. And then we will meet at exactly at 6%. Okay. So the answer for this one is 6%. The number of months. Okay. This time we want to know N. And it takes to earn 4,500. So I equals 4,500. And R is 6%. Oh, 6% is very popular here. So we're still looking at 6% here. And 4,500, I already put that in there. And then roughly here, right there. Okay, roughly, because I already done it. So I know it is because I made it really magnified and had a look. So that is coming, okay, like in between. So it's from 3.5 to 4. It's in the 2.5 scale to the right. So each scale was 0.1, right? Each space, each space was 0.1. So it went up to the right 0.25. Now, it starts from 3.5. So if I add it together, it's a 3.75. Okay, so it hits 3.75 years. Okay, but the question says number of months. Okay, so it's a 3.75 years. And we need to change it to months. So I just times by 12. And that will give me 45 months. Next one, okay? The time it takes to earn 7,400 in interest at 8% per annum. So now finally we got to see the 8%. 7,400. Okay, each one was 100, wasn't it? So 4 up to right here. 7,400. So 7,400 is right there. So 7,400, 8%. So we're looking at 8% right now. The blue line. If I go and hit right there, if I go down, it'll be up to here, I think, roughly. We're going up by 0.1 to the right, so it'll be 4.6. Now, that's why I'm talking about that you need to really use your ruler. Next one. Okay, the interest earned, so we're looking at I, we don't know, after 21 months. N is 21 months, and R is 8%. So we need to convert this 21 months to the years because otherwise it's a bit hard to read the graph. So 21 months, the years is 21 divided by 12. So if I put that in my calculator, 1.75. So I'm going to go 1.75. Oh, that's a bit tricky. So it's going up by 0.1. So 7, and then 8, going to hit right there, and it'll be about, okay, so that's 2,800. So 2,800. Gee, that was tough to read. 2,800 is interest that we're going to get. All right, next one, the interest rate. So we are looking for R. When it's 1,800, so I is 1,800. And then it's, again, N is 27 months. I need to convert this one to years. So 27 divided by 12 equals 2.25. I need to go 2.25. It's the 1,800. 1, 2, 3. Thank goodness. So that's just roughly, it's 4%. So I don't really need to go down. But if I did, it's hitting that. So it's going to be 4%. Any questions? Okay, well, that's all for today's lesson. Well done, people. Thank you.